Nation, the New York Jets are back on the field today. They're playing the Atlanta Falcons in preseason week 2. There's a couple things I want to discuss, and a lot of questions I've asked about this game, on what personally I want to see from this team and what I'm looking at. Well, I'm looking at the cornerback position, of course, first. Tremaine Johnson's out. His backup, Kyron Brown, is out. Darryl Roberts is our starter. He's been playing pretty well in camp. I think people are not giving him the credit he deserves. But Brian Poole is obviously coming back to Atlanta. It's pretty much a homecoming for him, but he's been playing really well. After that, we're kind of questionable on what's going on over there. Arthur Mullet's a guy to watch. Perry Nickerson, who got burned last week, that's a guy to watch. So we got to look at the cornerback position because we have no idea how this cornerback group is. They had some on and off practices. They did play really well on Tuesday, but overall, I don't really trust this group. But with Greg Williams, we'll see how they disguise it a little bit. I don't think they can fully disguise it, but they can maybe with the guys up front with Leonard Williams, Henry Anderson, Quentin Williams up there. They might have to have big years to maybe disguise the cornerback position if they don't access it. But we need depth. That's for sure. That depth is really important for this team. But I think Joe Douglas is being a little bit quiet. The 53-man roster cuts are coming soon. A lot of teams are going to be doing some surprise cuts and some veteran cuts. And I think Joe Douglas is going to look at that wire, and that's when the cornerback depth is going to come in. And I think he's not trying. Maybe he's looking for trade options, and I think he definitely is. But I think he's just waiting for the cuts to keep coming in, and he'll look at the wire to see who they can pick up, and just bring him in and see who picks up the pace for the team. And I think he already has the guys that haven't stepped up, but they need to step up. Like Perry Nickerson needs to step up after getting burned last week. So that's a really important position for me personally that the Jets need to focus on, and a lot of guys need to step up. So that's a really important thing to watch today. Another thing is to watch is kicker Taylor Bertolet. He just came in after Canzero retired all of a sudden, but we know why he retired, of how bad he was playing. It's probably one of his worst summers, most likely, of how he missed field goals, easy extra points. So that has been a complete disaster. Taylor was with the team last year with Jason Myers. He obviously lost to Jason, but Taylor did show some flashes from like 40 yards. Even in practice, he's hit some 40 yards, 45, 50, you name it. So he knows how to kick. We just need to know if he can do it in the game, and this is his shot to look at. So and he has no competition as of now, so he needs to show that he can be the kicker for the New York Jets. Lastly is the starting offense. Le'Veon Bell is not expected to play. I don't want him to play personally because of injuries. And with our offensive line being so banged up right now, Winters, Osamele, Khalil all out, it's pretty much hard to say Le'Veon Bell should play because you don't want to risk that injury to your star running back that hasn't played a game in a year. So, I would say maybe next week we put him in. I do think he needs to be in a game. He needs to be put at least in a drive. And I agree with fans. He needs to be in a drive just to get a little bit of feel of the football again. Getting hit by another opponent. I think he needs to get used to that again. So I think maybe next week when we're at home playing the Saints, he should be out there. And maybe we'll have Osamele back and Khalil on the offensive line. So I think maybe we should say that for next week. If today he plays, I don't think they're going to play more than a couple snaps for him, just to get him a little bit. But obviously they know what they're doing, and they don't want to risk an injury, which is really important on this team. But also we got to look at, does Sam Darnold play a lot? I think he will play 1 to 2 drives. I really do. He has a good test against Atlanta defense, and this is a really, really good test for him. He can learn from a lot from this. I think that Falcons defense is overlooked from a lot of people from last year. They got a couple of safeties, they got cornerbacks. They were pretty much banged up last year, and they lost their entire defense. They lost like 6, 7 starters. So I think they're gonna have a better year this year, but we'll see how they do. But obviously it's going to be a bigger test for Sam Darnold than last week. So I think he should get at least as much reps as he can, but I think it should be 1 to 2 drives. We'll see how he does for the first drive. If he does well the first drive, I would say maybe sit him down. If he does the same thing that he did last week against the Giants, I think he should sit out. But if he makes a mistake or something, maybe put in one more drive, and that's about it. For Sam Darnold, we don't want to risk that injury as well. We don't want that Mark Sanchez stuff to happen to Sam Darnold. Obviously, we don't want that. So that's gonna be something to watch, and I'm excited to see if this offense can stay consistent like they did in Week 1. If they can still they drive down the ball and just score and limit the field goals. And it looked pretty promising last week, and we just need to see if this offense can keep clicking. And if Adam Gase keeps dialing in, I trust Adam Gase. I like this. I like how they pretty much partnership together. This partnership with Gase and Sam Darnold is working pretty well so far that we've seen, and we need to see if they continue it. And today will be a good test to see that, and next week, and we'll see in the season. And I'm excited for the season. I'm a little bit too excited. I haven't seen a team like this. It's refreshing to see this team have so much potential, and we're gonna have to see a lot today, and a lot of young guys who are stepping up. So it's gonna be a fun day to see. Greg Dortch is probably a guy to watch. He's been killing it in camp. I think he has pretty much a roster spot secured of how well he's been doing in camp. And last week's preseason game, and I think he'll excel even today. So again, enjoy the game, and we'll be back with a full recap of tonight's game. Enjoy the game. Go Jets.